Okay guys, so I got the Ranger 900 in the shop today. I'm getting ready to actually tear this thing down because I've got a few things for it. One, I've got the heater kit for this thing, and then I have the noise reduction kit for it as well. To install those pieces, you got to pretty much tear the dash out. I think the fender's got to come off, and all kinds of stuff has to come off. So the rear panel's got to come out, the floor's got to come out. So I'm gonna do that all in one step this time. In previous Rangers, I've done one at a time, you know, as I can get the parts. But I have both parts right now, so I'm just gonna do it at the same time. It's starting to get cold, so I'm going to need a heater soon, so that's what I'm going to do. I've actually had this heater kit for over a year, I think. I bought it last year, never got it in, and then it warmed up, so then I didn't install it. But it's going to get installed starting today. I don't know how long this is going to take me. I'm not going to do a step-by-step on this. I have a step-by-step heater install on one of my other Rangers. You can check that video out if you want to. This is more for documentation of this Ranger build. I'm just gonna pull it apart, install my heater, and then I'll show you guys some of the features of it, I guess. Maybe a little bit along the way as I do it, but this is not gonna be a step-by-step video, just documentation for the Ranger 900 project. So I'm gonna start with taking a bunch of stuff off here, and hopefully I'll get most of it off tonight. Okay, so I got this thing just about tore down. Got my side panels over there, just cleaning them up. It's hard to clean the inside of those when they're on the machine, so I'm kind of scrubbing them down. Same with the floorboards, hard to clean the underside of the floorboards with it on the machine, so I'm scrubbing it down. But here on the back side right here is where that noise reduction kit, some of that goes on there. So I got to clean that up so that'll stick on there. I don't know if you have to take this out to put that in there. I think they say maybe to just push it ahead and stick it on there, but I think it's easier to pull the floorboards out to do that. But I got everything off, fenders. Now, I don't know if you really got to do this much disassembly if you're just putting like the heater in, or if you're just putting the noise reduction kit in there. But I have, when I got my doors, I have a, what do they call it? A cab sealing kit. And there's pieces of foam and stuff that go around in places. I never did that because I didn't want to take my fenders off and stuff. I was kind of waiting till like right now when I'm taking everything apart. So that's why I got everything apart, is because I'm going to install that kit too. But you can see not a whole lot of light over here. I probably should have went on the other side, but pretty much stripped down some steel framing there. Going to clean up the underside of the dash. Getting lots of spiders in this thing. And I think it was stored in a barn or something, and they must have had a lot of spiders. So I'm trying to get this thing cleaned out. So I got a nice sealed cab without too much as far as living things inside the cab. Always probably going to get spiders in there. Spiders seem to get everywhere, but just trying to get everything cleaned up. There was a mouse trying to build a nest right there, so I got that cleaned out. I might fill this with foam to keep them out of there. I'm not exactly sure how they're getting in there, but someone was trying to build something there, so I'm trying to get it all cleaned out, flushed out. This is another bad spot that picks up a lot of dirt. I don't know why it's there, but it's a pocket, fills with dirt. In here, this fills with dirt, so I might do a bunch of sealing on this thing to try to seal it up a little better. There are some spots in the dash here. There's some cracks there and some cracks over here. You can see the light maybe coming through right there. So I'm going to try to seal this dash up as good as I can. I think there's a big hole down here. There's a couple holes over here. And yeah, I'm just going to try to go through. Some of these holes have the cab sealing kit deals with those. So they have like foam pieces that'll go there. So that will take care of some of it, but it doesn't take care of all of it. Again, I have a really good video when I did my heater install on my 2016 Ranger 900. And I kind of went step by step, and I did all kinds of sound mat on that. I'm probably not going to do the sound mat like I did on that one. I mean, that one I put sound mat everywhere. Not sure it helped quite as well as I would have hoped. So I think I'm just going to put it in certain places. That noise reduction kit that I'm going to install with the carpet and then the big foam pieces on the back of the floorboard panels. And then I've got some stuff I'm going to put behind here. I'll show you that when I do it. I haven't got that panel off yet, but I'm going to do that. I might do some sound mat right here because the muffler is like right behind there. So I'm going to probably do some sound mat in some certain areas just to help out with the sound, but I'm not going to go crazy like I did on my other one. But anyway, I got this thing all cleaned up. I'm going to quit. I'm going to let this thing all dry out and get after it tomorrow. Okay, so I've gotten a bunch done to the Ranger. You can see I got my heater vents for the bottom side in. You got to cut the back side of this out for the heater kit to allow for these vents, and I think to allow for the plenum. But anyway, there's a cover that goes in there, snaps in there, and it hides that. And I just scrubbed this down, trying to get rid of all the living things that are in all the nooks and crannies of this thing out before I seal the cab up. Working in the cab here, I've got, you see I got my heater box in place, bolted down. I've got my heater plenum in place. I've got my wires routed where they're supposed to be routed. And I've done some of the cab sealing kit, but I actually got to wait for my dash to go in before I can really do much of that. You can see right there I've got some sound mat. There's a bit of a hole there, same on the other side. There's a little bit of a hole there, so I've got that sealed up. There really is no other holes except for on the other side. There's a little bit of a gap down in there. I put some sound mat there. And you can see I had to put a little more there than on the other side. But, oh, and then there's another spot down in here where there's some wires going through. I'm going to stuff some foam in there. Probably should have done that before I put that plenum in there, but I got to go get some. So I'm going to do that. But some of that will be taken care of with the cab sealing kit. Because some of them holes are like right here, and there's foam and stuff that goes in this corner. There's foam that goes in here too, because the dash is right here. So there are places that sealing kit will seal up, but I just want to make sure I got no holes in the cab, so I keep critters and stuff out of the cab, because I want this thing sealed up so mice aren't getting inside the cab. They might be able to get around the engine area and stuff like that, but I don't want them in the cab. But anyway, that's where I'm at. Got a good chunk of this done. I'm just going to wait for this to dry because, like I said, I just scrubbed it down. So once this is dry, you get to put the lower dash in. Then I got to start cutting up the upper dash And then this piece that goes here has to be cut too, trimmed up. Okay, so a little more progress here. I got my lower dash installed. You can see I've got my lower vents hooked up to the plenum there. Got my wires routed between the plenum there and the heater core. So that lower dash is pretty easy. It goes in pretty easily. The upper dash is a little more difficult to get in there. Got my vents right there. Them hoses go to the vents over here in the corner. There's one on this side, one on that side. And I'm going to cut them out right now. Okay, so here's the aftermath of all of my vent installs. Just installed the vents in the dash here, the upper dash. There's one there, one here. If you haven't, I highly recommend investing in one of these Dremel tools with the trim bit. It does a really good job of trimming plastic. This is actually a Craftsman's, but Dremel's kind of just the general name for that kind of a tool. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of time on this job. But yeah, you just got to cut these out. There are lines in the back to follow. Just take your time and get them pretty close. Then the vents just snap in. But I just finished these up. This is actually the last of my cutting and vent installing. I've actually got this already. The center piece of the dash, you got to cut out these vents here, and then also you got to cut this area out for the heater. I have seen the heaters mounted down here. If you want to keep your switches up there, my sister's is down here for some reason. I don't really understand why, but it is down here. Probably would have been nice to have more switch area, but I think it looks cleaner right here. And again, this just snaps in. You cut the hole, they got guides in the back, and it'll snap in just like all the other vent stuff. So that's ready. And then the top dash pad, or whatever you want to call it, you got to cut these vents out. There's one on each side again. This is your defrost. And this panel is ready to go in. I got it all cleaned up. And there's pieces of foam that seal that. This is probably the most important part of this heater kit, is these defrost vents, because that is going to really save your butt when it's either raining, when it's cold out, when you're snow plowing. You can really start getting your windshield all fogged up if you don't have a little bit of heat blowing on it. So that's about it for the heater. I got to install my coolant lines on the motor, which really is no big deal. And I've got to, obviously got to put it back together. I got to put this dash back in and get my fenders and stuff all installed. But that's about it. I'm going to start taking the back panel off here to get my carpet behind the seats. My sound or noise reduction kit in there. So I'll come back once I get some more progress done. Okay, so I got my dash all in place mostly. It's looking pretty good. Just pulled out my rear panel right here. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. I'm going to put some sound mat on the back of that. Plus I got to install my noise reduction kit, that carpet kit. I got to pull the seats off in order to pull the seat backs off. You got to pull this back piece off and they unbolt from there. I've been working on this piece here. I've got it all covered with the sound mat. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think I got like one layer of 80 mil, I believe is what it was, 80 mil. I'll have links, guys. I'll put links of stuff I used if I can. I got some of this too I'm going to put back on that back panel somewhere. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do, but this is just, I guess they call it underhood thermal acoustic lining, I guess. So we'll see see how that works out. Hopefully I got enough. I forget what kind of roll this is, but I guess it says it's a 32 by 54, so we'll see what that does. It's supposed to block heat and noise, so I'm gonna give her a try. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my seats out next, get them pulled out, and then we'll start fitting my carpet kit, see maybe where I can put some of this liner. And I may even do something along here with some sound mat or this liner or something. I'll show you what I do when I get it done. Okay, so I've got some of that mat right here. I actually put some of the sound mat underneath this. And then I've got the Polaris seal kit installed. These pieces of foam here, down there, along here. There's foam. So pretty much everything is done. I just got done drilling the holes to hold this carpet kit to the frame there. I think I'm going to get some loom out, loom my wires up real nice, and then I'm going to be sticking this carpet back in. Had to do a little modification because of my wires down here. Then I had to change a few things. I don't know why it didn't fit, but this is a 2013, so this might be for a later model maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it's going to go in. It fits pretty good anyway. Okay, so I got my carpet installed, the rear carpet. I got my seat backs installed. So now I can install this back panel. I actually had some of this boom mat or whatever you call that. I had some of that, or I had enough of that to go back here and do some more on this piece. I think most of your effort, if you're trying to do this, most of your effort should be concentrated on this area right here, because most of your noise is coming from your motor and your muffler right here. So I think if you want to try to quiet down your Ranger, you want to concentrate on this back panel here. So there's a space there, so I put the mat there. I'll link the mat if I can find it again. I'll link it, guys, so you can do that if you want. I also added some of the mat onto here. I put it behind this tubing, and then I also put a piece right here. Again, there's room back there, so I figured what the heck, I might as well stick it on there. And I'm ready to actually put this on. I need to put a few more of the cab sealing kit pieces on the cab, and then I'm gonna put this piece on. This is very heavy now. It's actually really, really heavy compared to what it was. All this sound mat made it heavy. Hopefully that's gonna absorb some of the sound so it doesn't come into the cab. Okay, so I got my back panel installed. It's a little bit harder to get it installed with all that mat stuff on there because it's quite a bit heavier and stuff like that, but I think it's going to be well worth it. I did add 2 more push pins on each side right here, the little plastic push pins to hold this panel down. In 2013 they didn't have any down here, they only had the one right here. On my 16 Ranger I'm pretty sure they add another one here, but I added 2 just because of my panel was so thick that I wanted extra holding power. So I did 2 on each side, and it really looks nice, guys. I think it's gonna really help. But I've got to get my interior put back together, and I'm gonna go for a ride and see if I can't get the system all bled out, and we'll have an awesome heater. Okay, so before I head out on my ride, I like to fill up the overflow bottle around here, so to help replenish the coolant that I lost, and also to fill the heater core up. You're going to be bleeding some air out as you run the machine. Usually you have to do this a few times before the coolant levels off and it stops taking the coolant in. Just make sure you keep an eye on your coolant for the next 3, 4, 5 rides, guys. Make sure you topping it off, and that's pretty much it for bleeding. It's just driving around and letting the air come out. If you watch this tank, you will see air bubbles coming out of it. I've never had much trouble bleeding the system on these 900 Rangers, so it's pretty easy. I just drive around and let it self-bleed. Well, guys, I'm out here on a bad weather day. Figured these kind of days were coming, so I got my heater installed. But it's low 50s. The wind's blowing pretty bad. That's kind of what's making it miserable. So it's pretty bad out there, and then now it's starting to rain. So it's pretty nasty out, but I'm nice and comfortable in the cab here. I got a buddy with me. He's been sticking his head out the window, that's why his head's all wet. But anyway, we're nice and dry for the most part. If we don't stick our heads out the window, we're nice and dry. It could be a nice summer day and I wouldn't even know it. So this is really nice, guys. The heater turns this Ranger pretty much into a 4-season machine. Like I said, I'm real comfortable in here, and I'm dry, I'm warm, and this Polaris heater, guys, is really, they pretty much got it engineered perfect. It will cook you right out if you want to. Sometimes when the wind gets blowing, and I've got the power window doors, and though the wind will sometimes blow around these windows, I'm not exactly sure how it does it, but if the wind blows directly at them, I will get some wind coming in the cab, so I will have to crank the cab up. But I can run this all winter long and be comfortable in the cab. Just got to turn the heater up every once in a while if the wind starts blowing just right. But it's starting to come down now. I don't have any wiper on my windshield. This is the poly windshield. I just put some Rain-X on there. I don't know if the camera's kind of focusing on the drops, it looks like, but it's really not that bad with the Rain-X on there. I can see past it. It pretty well keeps everything clear enough so I can see. It would be nice to have the glass windshield with the wiper, so we'll see about that for maybe a later upgrade. But anyway, guys, this heater, like it was on my 16, it's awesome. Like I said, they've got it pretty well engineered. They got the vents over here, and this pretty much, when you open these, pretty much takes care of that wind that's coming through the window right here, and you can shut them off. And they got 2 vents on the floor, which is nice for your feet. 2 vents right here that blow kind of directly on you. You can shut these vents if you don't have a lot of wind coming through the door, or maybe it's not so cold out. Another thing about this rain, even if you guys don't get really cold weather, with the dog being wet and myself, I've walked through some rain. I'm not as wet as he is, but I got some water on me. I'm a little damp. without the heater kit, you're gonna fog up so bad you ain't gonna be able to see out any windows. So that's another thing with this heater, is you got the defrost that will pretty much, I've not had a fogging up issue at all, and I've used the Ranger now on a few rainy days, and absolutely no fogging up of the windows, no fogging up of the side windows, absolutely no fogging up problem at all. So that's another good thing about the heater kit. Also, I'm really happy with all my sound deadening. The machine is running right now, and I'm real happy with all that. Really quiets the machine down with the Polaris noise reduction kit, and then everything I added to it. Really happy with the noise in here. Still have to get a headliner, and I'm going to probably put some more of that boom mat in the roof, and I'm thinking that's going to take care of some more of the noise. But overall, right now, I'm real happy with what I've got. Anyway, guys, I guess that's going to do it for this one. We're going to continue on with our ride because we can now. It's like I said, we're comfortable. We're as comfortable as a nice summer day. So we're just going to ride around and enjoy the day, even though it's crappy out.